until my well runs dry. Send all your sins all over me, baby, baby, baby.
Hey Chicken and Waffles, it's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea All Shade Joseline's Cabaret Texas Season 1 Episode 3 review. Sorry I was gone for the week, but mama needed a break, and I did the biggest interview that I have done yet with the biggest celebrity on the planet, and I secured it. Yeah. I don't even think y'all ready for this. This Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, I will be dropping my interview with none other than Beyonce. Yes, y'all. I interviewed Beyonce. I will give you all the tea on how I secured this interview after it airs, but get ready for my exclusive interview with Beyonce this Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Yes, y'all. Yes, get ready. Also, starting this week, we're going to switch things up with the schedule. Every day at 6 p.m. Central Time, I will be dropping a mega spill the tea behind the scenes tea video where I will be discussing all of the celebrity news and gossip and behind the scenes tea. It will be a mega packed episode that will range from like 30 minutes to an hour every day. So get ready like Freddie, okay? And join your girl over here at the ColorMePynk channel every day at 6 p.m. Central Time to get all of your entertainment news. It's going to be epic. So starting today, the first episode airs. So make sure that you guys tune in. Now let's get into this week's review of Joseline's Cabaret. So the episode begins where last week's episode left off with Envy Fast and Oceans deciding that they're going to fight the two new girls that Joseline added, Hennessy and Rose, I think their names are, just because they were picked while they were at the pool party. That's the reason why they're going to fight them. And I was so pissed off and disgusted with them. And I was like, Raven, like, this is so ghetto, because Envy, old Humpty Dumpty, sit on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. hungry hippo looking needed to be the main one sitting down. Like, she looked like a beluga whale. Like, I'm like, girl, this is not the look for you. You already bad built, bad body, and want to sit up there and try to fight somebody. You better hope you even make it to the cabaret, because if we're basing on looks wise, Joseline is not going to pick you because you do not fit the aesthetic at all. And I just felt like she looked like a dang on fool. And then Oceans, she want to act like she's so big and bad and can't fight worth a damn. And she looked like somebody in the face, and I cannot for the life of me put my finger on it. But she looks like somebody, and I'm going to figure it out. But she made a fool out of herself too. She want to be Joseline's right-hand man so bad. And I'm like, girl, she going to use you and abuse you like she do everybody else. So you need to get somewhere and sit down too. Hennessy and Rose, though, they weren't no punks. They stood up for themselves, even though they couldn't fight. You know what I'm saying? Actually, all four of them couldn't fight. It was one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life. So bad that Oceans end up getting her lip busted. And I was like, that's what you get. That is what you get. I bet you leaving them alone now. I bet you do, because you look like a fool, a whole fool. So after that, Isis and some of the other girls joined Kay and Chinks outside. And, you know, everybody's speaking to each other, and Isis calls Kay Jigsaw. She was like, hey, Jigsaw. And she was like, not Jigsaw. I'm not going to call that lady Jigsaw. Kay was like, I look better than you. And she was like, no, you don't. So they get the argument back and forth. Now, mind you, this stems from the fact that on last week's episode, Kay kept on involving herself in Ice's situation with Drea and Danny or whatever. She called herself jumping in, adding her 2 cents, and ended up getting smacked by Isis. So they've been beefing ever since. But on last week's episode, Joseline told Isis she can't fight no more because she already hurt her hand, and she got hands. Like, she can fight. She can fight. She's probably one of the best fighters in the house so far. So they going back and forth, back and forth. Now, mind you, in between them, it's Kay. Then it's, I don't know if that girl named Lexi. I think her name Lexi. I believe so. And then it was Isis. So while Kay is going back and forth with Isis, she was putting like her hand up while she was speaking. And so Lexi then decides to use this as an excuse to come at Kay Thompson. You know, when you talking to somebody, put your hand down because it's going to make me feel like you directing it towards me. Girl, you know dang on well she wasn't directing it towards you. You saw an easy target and decided that you was going to make her, you know, your next beef, you know, your next op. So as they're talking, going back and forth, Kay and Isis, the girl who I think name is Lexi decides to hit this girl, literally hit her while I believe her face was turned. Like, she didn't even see that it was coming, didn't even know it was coming, wasn't no words spoken or anything. And I was like, you so lame. You are so lame and whack for that. Because if it was anybody that could really fight, you would never have done that. And I was like, nah, I don't like you, Bigfoot. These heifers on here are acting a fool. And now I don't like all the jumping that's happening this season either. It's like, what are y'all doing? But I mean, this is a show with no moral. So who am I to get upset? Like, come on, Keisha. Let me check myself. So they end up fighting. And really, to me, neither one of them really won. And then as they're fighting, Des decides she gonna jump in and get her little 1-2 in on Kay. And I said, so all y'all just gonna jump on Kay? Because obviously she's not a fighter. She could not fight. And y'all look super whack and lame for that. I don't like the jumping stuff at all. So then Envy Erica, big bodied self, decides to confront Kay. And then they fight. So this girl literally has how many fights? Like 1, 2, 3. Like 3 fights back to back to back to back. Now, the fight with the girl I think named Lexi, she got snuck. Then Des snuck her. The only one that was like heads up was the one with Envy Erica or whatever. And I didn't like the way Des and Lexi handled that. Because like, y'all whack. If y'all want to fight her, just say it. Go heads up. You ain't have to sneak that girl. They beat her up to the point that she ended up looking like a Klingon after the fact. I felt so bad for that girl. Her forehead that wasn't even a knot. It looked like she bust a vein, a vessel or something. It looked like she had 2 portals to hell on the side of her forehead. Like, that looked like 2 underground tunnels. Like, oh my God, they jacked that girl face up. She really was looking like Jigsaw then, child. I felt so bad for her because she didn't deserve that. She really honestly didn't. So after that big melee, Joseline has a one-on-one conversation with Wet Wet, who has been acting a monkey since she got there. So Joseline is sitting at her desk, and I don't know why she was dressed like a charlatan. She looked like she was on Downton Abbey with that cloak wrapped around her throat. I ain't know what she was wearing. It was giving very Grey Poupon mama. I didn't understand it at all. But Wet Wet comes in there with her maid outfit on, right? And Jocelyn was like, hey, May, I see you got your maid outfit on like you always do. You know, giving a throwback to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Mimi. So Wet Wet was like, yeah, you know, as requested or whatever, you know, I've been having a hard time, Jay, this, that, and the third. So as they're speaking, this crazy heifer decides to take the little duster that she got in her hand and dust Joseline off from left to right on her neck and shoulders. And so you could tell it took Joseline a minute to calculate what the fuck was going on. Because she was looking at Wet Wet like, is this bitch really touching me? And is she touching me with this duster of all things? And then on top of that, is she really dusting me off like I'm a piece of dirt? Like the fuck? Baby, next thing you know, she slapped the shit out of Wet Wet and then tried to drag her ass across that table. But Wet Wet was holding on for dear life. So she was like, what the fuck you putting your hands on me for, bitch? What the fuck is you doing that for, hoe? Stop playing with me. And Wet Wet was like, Jay, it wasn't even like that. It was no disrespect, Jay. It was no disrespect. But girl, what you think she gonna take it as when you been testing her since you got in the house? You been talking crazy and greasy like you're that bitch. It's like you been on thin ice. So it's like, why would you think that it would be okay for you to do that to anybody, let alone Joseline? Because I would have slapped her too. I got a thing. Don't touch me. I'm not a touchy-feely person. Don't put your hands on me unless I invite you to. I don't like that shit. I'm a germaphobe. Like, stay away from me. So I 1000% understood where Joseline was coming from. But Joseline was so mad that she told Wet Wet to get the fuck out the house, period. She was like, it's time for you to go. Your time is up. And Wet Wet was dismissed from the house and the show. And gotta be honest with you, I felt like she did it to herself. You know, I see people online trying to blame Joseline and saying Joseline was treating her bad. No, she did not. Wet Wet was being obnoxious. She was being rude. She was coming for her throat. She was getting smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you expect for her to do after, you know, giving this girl chance after chance after chance? Do I think that Wet Wet makes great TV? Yes. I think that she's super funny. Like on last week's episode, when she fell out, when she found out she wasn't a part of the $50,000, you know, contest or whatever. And then she did the whole, you know, I die and wake up again. I die. That was funny. But after that, she's annoying as hell. She really honestly is. I get tired of her and Peaches and Herb and showing them all the time and bending over, showing that little scarecrow body of hers. Like, she just loud and wrong a lot. So if she get that together, honey, maybe. But goodbye to Wet Wet. After Wet Wet is put out the house, Joseline calms herself down and Raven is asked to come in. And she tells Raven that she needs for her to basically, quote unquote, like be the house mother, get the girls together. They're going to this strip club called Area 29 so they can start rehearsals. And, you know, she tells to get the girls together. And Raven was like, no problem. You know, I'm going to make them exercise, eat right, all of that stuff. I actually like Raven a lot. I think that Raven is so pretty. I love her little Halle Berry boomerang haircut. And she's funny. And I like her. I really honestly do. And I think that was a better decision to put her as the house mother than Wet Wet. So Raven gets the girls together and tells them that there will be no fighting outside the house, especially at Area 29. This is per Joseline's demands. And Joseline told her exclusively that there will be eliminations that night. On the way to Area 29, the girls are on the van and Kay says that, you know, she got jumped by the three girls. Here go Lexi and Dez telling me some, you ain't get jumped, we ain't sneak you. Everybody looking at them like, girl, y'all did sneak this girl. And I was so happy that Chinks jumped in and was like, girl, y'all did sneak her, especially you, Lexi. Like, that girl was not looking in your direction. She didn't even know it was coming. Like, and she said y'all was weak for that. It wasn't even necessary. Like, what is y'all problem and beef with her? There is none. Like, y'all doing the most. And I love that she stood up for Kay because it was a gang up. It really honestly was. And I didn't really like that. So they get to the club and Ricardo is back and he's on stage doing his little choreography or whatever. And he asks, him and Joseline asks the girls who knows the Doom Cha Cha choreography. And only a small majority of the girls raised their hands. And that's including Andrea and Danny, who went on tour with her. Like, they should know that routine, like from front to back, left to right. Like, all right. So some of the new girls raised their hand. It was Envy, it was Oceans, and some other girls. So Ocean's been talking a big game about how she this good dancer, this, that, and the third. Girl, they get up there and do the Doom Cha Cha. Child, it was giving Steve Urkel offbeat. Like, she looked like a fool, child, a fool. And Joseline immediately made her get off stage. Then she made Danny get off stage because Danny didn't know the routine. Like, how do y'all not know this simpleton routine? All of America and the world knows the Doom Cha Cha. Like, what? Like, come on now. Come on. This don't even make sense. Joseline was so mad at Drea. She was like, Drea, how you don't know the dance? How you don't know the dance, huh? Why you sitting over there looking stupid? You just sitting over there looking stupid and done him in the face. And Danny was literally sitting there looking stupid in the face, not knowing what to say back. So then Ricardo teaches the girls the Domino routine. And this is the easiest routine ever. You're literally twerking on an 8 count for literally like 6-8 counts, child. All you doing is shaking your butt, lifting your arm, and lifting it down, child. And I'm like, if y'all can't get this, then just go home. Please go home. So Joseline, after everybody does the routine, tells Envy fat ass that he was getting tired halfway through. And I was like, that's what you get, because instead of fighting Hennessy and Rose, you should have been trying to do some cardio, fatty. I don't like her. Do not like her at all. So then Joseline says, it's going to be elimination tonight, and she's not going to be the one to pick who leaves. They're going to pick who leaves, and the person who gets the most votes will be eliminated. So Oceans immediately starts crying because she feels like she's going to get put out, because she been acting a fool, starting fights, and, she don't know who like her and who don't like her. Then Kay goes over to Danny and asks her to vote a girl that she wants out. And Danny was like, I'll do it as long as Kay votes out Isis for her. So they, working together. And I was like, see, this ain't fair. This is not fair. But in the end, Rose, Isis, and Hennessy, as well as Joseline, was like, who is Jigsaw? Who is Jigsaw? Who y'all calling Jigsaw? Who is that? And Kay was like, me. They talking about me. And Jackson was like, why y'all calling that girl Jigsaw? That ain't right. Do not call that girl Jigsaw. So in the end, it was Isis and I can't remember if it was Rose or Hennessy that had like the most votes in the end. And the girls were going to end up having to choose between the two, but we won't find out until this week's episode who gets sent home. I don't believe that it's Isis, because I was watching one of Joseline's lives from last week, and she had some of the girls there with her that are going on tour, and she FaceTimed Isis, and her and Isis are still really good. I think that she might be a part of the Cabaret. So I don't think that Isis has anything to really worry about. But this was a great episode of Joseline's Cabaret. I really, truly enjoyed it. Y'all let me know down below in the comment section what y'all thought about this week's episode and who do y'all think should be voted out and go home. I personally feel like it should be Envy or Oceans or that Lexi girl. I'm not feeling them at all. Yeah, and y'all get ready for my exclusive interview this Thursday with Beyonce. Do not miss it. Please run those numbers up, and please make sure that you thumbs up this video for me, you guys. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.